Marcy Marcusa. Show is Information Radio, your morning show on 89.3 FM, 990 AM on the app and YouTube. Well, let's return to developing news. Just on Monday, we heard from MLA Lisa Naylor, who's responsible for Manitoba's emergency management organization, urging people to reconsider non-essential travel and event plans within the province to make way for wildfire evacuees.
Manitobans want to help. People have been asking us all the time, how can we help? So this goes beyond a donation to the Red Cross or dropping off some clothes. It says I can help by not taking up a hotel room right now when we need it.
Well, 300 spaces have just been freed up because the Canadian School Boards Association has cancelled their Winnipeg conference. They're moving it virtual. And with us to talk about that is my next guest. Alan Campbell is the president of the Manitoba and Canadian School Boards Association. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Marcy.
So tell me what went into the decision. Obviously this is a conference supposed to happen in July, hundreds of people. Why did you decide to cancel?
It's something that we've been watching closely for, days and weeks now as the wildfire situation escalated and the number of evacuees that needed a place to stay certainly continued to go up. We've heard from our member boards. We have school board trustees and literally all of the staff and their divisions that are all evacuated from their communities in places like Flin Flon and Cranberry Portage and other locations. And we had also started to hear some inquiries from them. And so the clip that you just played from Minister Naylor was an important point in the decision-making process to say, non-essential travel, this is non-essential travel. It's a really important event for us, but we're able to pivot and offer some really important learning on our public education system and Indigenous education virtually. So let's do that.
And that was the focus, as you mentioned there, Indigenous education. And obviously a lot of our, communities, these are Indigenous students that are out of school. We just actually heard from a family. So I'm guessing that might have also factored into making this decision maybe a bit easier.
Absolutely. The Manitoba School Boards Association is the host of the event, and we pride ourselves on our ongoing work on Indigenous education, on making sure that the calls to action for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission on education are a continuous part of the work of our boards and part of public education here in Manitoba in partnership with our First Nations partners and the provincial government, the Ministry of Education. That holds true to the National Association as well. It's a key strategic priority for the CSBA. And so when we consider the communities that are being impacted, most significantly by the wildfires and the evacuations, school boards and school divisions are doing many different things to help both in the communities that are being directly impacted and also in places like Winnipeg and Brandon and Thompson where evacuees find themselves. So it did, the opportunity to change the way we're functioning this event and to free up, literally the entire Delta Hotel for the first week of July, which, as we understand, does start to make things more clear for those that are looking to book rooms from today going forward, understanding that there's still a lot of, lack of clarity in terms of when a lot of evacuees will be able to go home.
Mm-hmm. We are hearing, though, that it could be some time depending on which community you're from. So we're taking it day by day, but you're quite right. July's around the corner, even though it seems like it's a few weeks away on the calendar. So this was supposed to be July 3rd and 4th. Obviously, we've heard from different groups, the Winnipeg Chamber weighing in, saying they totally support, the call to help, but they also, talk about how difficult it can be. Events that are big, conferences like yours, that they're planned well in advance. What's it been like just logistically trying to change this for you?
It's been very disappointing, Marcy. We've been planning this event for 4 years, and so we were very excited. Last year, the Congress was in downtown Toronto. Next year, it's in Whistler. And we're very excited to go to places like that as well. But the opportunity for Manitobans to bring Canadians to Manitoba, showcase Manitoba, our important links with our Indigenous communities, our Franco-Manitoba culture here in Winnipeg. We had events planned at the Winnipeg Art Gallery and at the Forks and at the Human Rights Museum and, tours planned throughout Winnipeg to bring those hundreds of Canadian school board members and school system leaders to our capital city and to experience everything Manitoba has to offer. And so there was months and months of planning into that in-person, really valuable experience. that, like you said, was going to be July 2nd through the 5th. The virtual event, we're going to refine it down to July 3rd and 4th. And we still have a lot to offer. Phil Fontaine, Cindy Blackstock, Fred Penner, Nigon Sinclair is part of our presenter lineup for our National Reconciliation Partnership Award presentation. So we're hoping to do as much of that in addition to really valuable professional development online and still make a really important offering to those that are registered to attend, and even hopefully open up registration now that it's virtual to those that may be interested in partaking in the many valuable aspects of the program.
You mentioned the Delta Hotel downtown. I believe that also the Hampton Inn by Hilton downtown was also one of the spaces being booked. I'm just curious whether or not financially, what's it like? Are full refunds being offered then to folks who have booked for their experiences in hotels in Winnipeg, or how have you handled the financial situation given the change?
Yeah, it's a really important consideration. As the host association, when you look at booking, a multi-day event in a downtown of any city in North America these days, frankly, costs are significant, feeding all of those people. And so for the association, we've had really important conversations with the Delta, which has been a decades-long partner of the association. For most individual attendees, they'll be able to cancel or not most, all will be able to cancel their hotel rooms at no cost because we're still, more than 3 weeks out from the event. And then there's contractual conversations and larger logistical conversations around what the association's sort of guarantees are in terms of, that block of rooms. Now, we're very mindful, and we've made it very clear to the Delta, to our partners in government. We have now freed up all of those rooms, and it is the expressed wish of the Manitoba School Boards Association that those rooms all go to evacuees as quickly as possible, and that this, remedy or work to help, at least in part, the ongoing issue of a shortage of hotel spaces. So we're working through all of that. And I won't get into the nitty gritty of the contract,
but you may have to be eating some cost here, of course. Yeah,
for sure.
Just last briefly, I want to make sure I have my numbers correct. So even though there were 300 people registered and you talked about the block of hotel rooms, how many spaces do you think you're freeing up? And is it at the Delta and the Hampton Inn by Hilton? Are those the two hotels?
Those are the two hotels. It was pretty much all of the Delta and a good chunk of the Hampton Inn. It used to be the Charter House. I think it's the Hampton by Hilton now. And so it'd be in the realm of, 300 to 350 hotel rooms, somewhere in there, depending on, how people had them booked. And so that's a significant number. I think the Delta, based on some numbers that I've seen lately, is one of the largest hotels in Manitoba.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alan, for being with us and to walk us through this. In case it's valuable, where should people find more information about the changes that you're talking about?
The website for the event is winnipeg2025.ca.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Marcy.